Good evening, friends. It's a great pleasure in having you all for this webinar sponsored by Skillcraft. It's a very important topic which we have today, and during this lockdown time, I think this is a third or fourth webinar I'm doing in this subject alone. So, good evening once again, and welcome all of you. So, this is the quick introduction. I think Vignesh has already given introduction. So I'm the director, Razor Sharp HR and Consulting, founded around 2 years back. BSc Maths graduate with a gold medalist from Presidency College in Chennai. Did my MBA from Bharathidasan University. Have done a couple of more courses which is listed there, and have done my PhD in HR and management from Azteca University in Mexico. Have worked with organizations like Nippon Batteries, LG Equipments, Bharti Airtel, Device, Landmark Group in the GCC region. Fine. So let's go into the topic. First, we will see a quick introduction to what is Industry 4. So before that, I will also give an introduction on Industry 1, 2, and 3, from where it has come from, and then talk about Industry 4. Industry 4 basically has totally 9 characteristics, and I will be briefly giving the introduction to those 9 characteristics so that you understand what Industry 4 revolution is all about, and then what this will have an impact on industries. Okay, we have already seen the impact of Industry 1, 2, and 3 in various industries. Now, how this Industry 4 is going to have an impact. Then we will have a quick Q&A. So to start with, we will have a poll to see what is the current level of understanding of the participants about the Industry 4 revolution. So Vignesh, can you please launch this poll?
Yes, it has been launched already. So participant, you can able to click the poll window and start voting on it.
This is just to understand what is the knowledge of the participants in Industry 4 revolution, so that I can either go very in depth with examples or I can stop with a certain level. So this is for my understanding to plan the session accordingly.
So the result is being displayed on the screen. We can able to see that, sir.
I am unable to see that.
Okay. So far, participants have answered that. Like most of them have answered no to some extent, but not fully.
Okay, great, fantastic. Yeah. So then the examples which I will be giving will be more useful in having a better understanding. So I will also take a poll at the end saying that whether you had a better understanding than you had before the webinar. So before and after the evaluation also we will try to see. Great. So Industry 4 revolution, all about Industry 4 revolution. But before that, let's make it very clear that this Industry 4 revolution is not going to derail all the industries, and it's not a threat. Okay, so many of them have the doubt that if Industry 4 comes, what is going to happen and whether all the current industries are going to suffer. Is it a overnight change, etc. and all that? No. Industry 4 revolution is a transition, and it is a slow transition. This revolution will be there for quite a few decades, because the 9 characteristics which are there are very, very high level as of today, and something to come above that will take a longer period. And also the transition from Industry 3 to 4, whichever characteristics are there, these are all the characteristics which are not going to come overnight or which is going to come in the future. These are all the things which are already in place. Okay, the only thing is these characteristics are going to become major the industry practices than the practices which are there in the Industry Revolution 3. So one word of caution is that it's not going to derail the industry. It's not going to make the smaller industries go out of the business. It's not a threat to anyone. So 2 examples I will give you to make this understanding better. In various corporates, we have, for example, let's take a finance software. So we have SAP, in which we have finance module, Oracle, in which we have finance modules. So there are organizations which can afford to Oracle or SAP and all that, and they have finance and other modules, FICO, etc., sales in those modules. Now, that is the first level of organization which can afford to them. There is another second level of organizations which are running at a second level of ERP modules, either a Satyam or those type of modules, which are economically cheaper than the first category. There is also a third category where organizations run on Tally. There are many organizations which is running on Tally. If you see the cost of a Tally vis-a-vis with the Oracle or SAP, there's a huge difference. So why these organizations are running in Tally? They cannot afford that cost. But still, there are major chunk of organization working in Tally. Fourth category, there are organizations which doesn't have any ERP system. They are running still in Excel. Okay, so that type of organization is also there. So if you compare with the industry 4, I will say that in finance department, these are all the 4 levels, and all 4 exist even today, and this will exist forever depending upon the affordability of the organization for those packages. So coming to a personal example, there are certain VIP type of people who can afford a luxury car. Okay, so Benz, S class, that class, this class, and all that, Audi. So there is one category of people who can afford, they have that car. The second category of people who cannot afford that, they have a normal SUV. So not in that luxury segment, normal SUV. The third category, they have a normal sedan. The fourth category, they have a normal hatchback. There are category, many employees we know, they cannot afford a four-wheeler, they have a two-wheeler, either a bike or a scooter, etc. So below them, we still have a category of people who cannot afford a bike or a scooter, still going in cycle. So this is the economically, we have these people at a different levels. So all this will exist. Not only today, it will exist for the next 10, 20, 30 years. Category of the people who are going to afford only the cycle will be always there. Similarly, this industry 4 revolution also, whatever happened in revolution 1, those industries are still existing. They were unable to go to industry 4 type of a category because they cannot afford because of the cost. So this industry will continue. Industry 2 revolution, whichever industries came, that will continue, and so on and so forth. Right. So what is a industrial revolution? A quick little bit of a theory. It is a fundamental way changes happens in the way goods are produced. Okay, more of a human labor to machines to automatizations. So that transition is called as an industrial revolution. Why this revolution happens? This happens because the production, the productivity levels, the quality levels can go from one level to the other level. There is a lot of machines which are getting invented, which are getting used in these revolutions. New energy sources. Before Industry Revolution 1, water steam was not there. So this is the first revolution which happened. After that, a lot of uses in electricity has come in, and then oil. Now today, a lot of computers, increased usage of metals, increased usage of technology. These are all the things which characterize a revolution. Quickly seeing what is revolution 1, 2, 1, 3. Before industrial revolution 1, it was completely manual manufacturing. In revolution 1, a little bit of mechanization came into picture. Steam power was basically used to run those machines. So this is industry revolution 1. So I have mentioned the year also. So 1765 is the year where this industrial revolution started. If you see, close to around 100 years later only, the industrial revolution 2 started, wherein mass production system came into picture, assembly lines, and then more usage of electrical energy. So this is industrial revolution 2. From 1870 to 1969, another close to around 100 years, Industry Revolution 3 came in, wherein automation, computer usages, electronics. So this is the time when the corporates started using computers. So this is Industry Revolution 3. Now today we are in Industry Revolution 4. Actually, I will say this has already started some 5-10 years back, because the 9 characteristics which I am going to show, you will say that some industries are already using that. Yes. So this already started some 5-10 years back. Here, more of a cyber physical systems, IoT, networks. So those type of things are dominating in Industrial Revolution 4. Right. So the 9 characteristics which is covered under an Industrial Revolution 4 are these: robotics, IoT, big data, augmented reality, horizontal vertical integrations, simulations, cloud technology, additive manufacturing, cyber security. So these are all the 9 characteristics which basically contribute to the Industrial Revolution 4. So I'm going to touch on each and every characteristic, give a brief explanation such that you will understand what it is, and I will try to give one or two examples so that you can relate that explanation to the example for better understanding. Advanced robotics. So robots will eventually interact with one another, and they will work safely side by side with the humans and learn from them. Okay, so these robots will cost less and have a greater range of capabilities than those used in the manufacturing today. Now, today, not many robots are being used in an organizations in manufacturing process because they are still costly. As the day goes, when this Industry 4 revolution goes to the next level, the robots will become cheaper and cheaper, and slowly the application of robots, usage of robots in the manufacturing industry will increase. So now going to the example, robo restaurant. The robo restaurants we have in Chennai, Bangalore, Delhi, Hyderabad. So where the serving is taken care by these robots. So this is a robo usage of robo in the hotel industry. Car manufacturing we have already seen. So this is there for quite some time. So this is not new. And almost all the German manufacturers, most of the assembly line is automized and robots are there. Even the Indian manufacturers, to a fair extent, the assembly line is robotized already. This one which you see is a warehouse where these storages are being transported by these robots. These are all the robots which moves. So in many warehouses, these robots are already in use where they move the goods from one place to another place, which means from the production end line to the warehouse, from the warehouse to the dispatch area. So these type of robots are already in vogue. So now if you see the example which I gave you regarding the car and regarding the finance packages and all that. Now today, if I ask you a question whether all hospitals, or sorry, all hotels, can they afford to have robo servers? No, still it is costly. Okay, so but as the days goes by, as the years goes by, as the Industry 4 revolution goes from one level to the another level, robots will become cheaper, and then most of the hotels will have robots. So this is how the revolution will go. So that is why, but even after 10, 20, 30, 40 years, not all the hotels will have robots. Only few which can afford. There will be manual servers still continue. The next one is Internet of Things, IoT. So IoT is nothing but devices getting connected. More devices, sometimes including unfinished products, will be enriched with embedded computing. So the embedded technology comes into picture in IoT. So this will allow the devices which are there in the field, okay, to communicate and interact with the centralized control system. So the organization will manufacture a product and that will be used somewhere in the field, but the central company which sold the product will still have the control of the product which is working in the field to see how it is performing, whether it requires any intervention, any service is required, any problem which is there, any troubleshooting is required. So this is called as IoT, right? So now let's again do a quick poll to see if you can give me some examples related to IoT. Vignesh?
Yes, sir. The poll,
Right.
yeah. Audience, the poll is being started. Please check your poll tab. So Satyapriya has given smart home appliances, some examples. And Mr.
Yes,
Kannan has given controlling home gadgets. Kamal Sri
absolutely,
has given smart traffic system.
absolutely.
And Josephine Shanti has given automatic opening of doors.
Yes,
Sir Bhupati has given ATM and smart cars. Murugavel has said smart home.
very good.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we keep
So,
getting it. Yeah.
right. So if you see, IoT is used in all the places: in consumer, home, infrastructure, security surveillance, transportation, industries, retail, healthcare. So it's connected everywhere. One more example is one of the biggest compressor manufacturing company, India based. They have used this IoT technology almost 10 years back where they monitor the performance of the compressor, which is working in some customer's place somewhere, either India or outside, from a centralized system from their corporate office in Coimbatore. And they used to give instruction to the maintenance manager there, saying that it is time to change this particular spare part. There is a problem in the compressor, so it requires a little bit of a service. So this IoT actually started many years back, but what will happen in industry 4 is this will become a normal way of life. So that is when the industry 4 revolution becomes mature, and then 5 revolution starts. The third characteristic is big data and analytics. We all know that data analytics is one of the biggest market today. There's a lot of jobs getting created related to data analytics. In my recruitment business now, I'm getting a lot and lot of requirements related to data analytics and all that. So this is going to become major. Today, few organizations are using it. Some of them are using it to the fullest potential. Some of them are still trying. But tomorrow, this is going to be one of the major decision maker for many organizations. To name a few, retail consumer organization are using this data to understand the thinking pattern of the consumer, buying pattern of the consumer, etc. and all that. Finances and fraud services, web and digital media, e-commerce customer service is using it big time, telecommunications is using it big time, and health and life sciences. So if you can also see in your own life example, if you have searched about something, okay, for example, you not now, 6 months, 9 months back when you are traveling, you would have searched the tickets between Delhi to Mumbai. And then after some time, you can see those advertisements will come on the site. So what happens is that this airline company has picked up your search history, and they found out that you were searching for a ticket between Delhi to Mumbai, and they were suggesting those tickets on their site. So this is how the data analytics works. They collect the data, they do an analysis, and provide customized services or solutions or promotions to the potential clients. The next one, we all know, augmented reality. Okay, so this supports variety of services. Okay, we have all seen what is augmented reality, and I've given an example, so you can relate what is that example is to. So this is also called as virtual reality. Okay, so the example is, we would have seen this in many of the malls today, and these examples we have seen where people are here but still it looks like they are with a dolphin, etc. and all that. And this augmented reality was also used by a tourist company 2 3 months back during the lockdown time in Germany. So what they did is they found that people are all sitting in lockdown in houses, they are not going out and they are getting bored. So they came out with this innovative concept, and through this VR, they actually conducted package tours. They took people sitting in their own home. They took the people through VR to their destination places where they would like to go, and they gave a sightseeing for those places. So the tourism industry has made some money in German and Europe using this augmented and virtual reality. Fifth characteristics, horizontal integration, vertical integration. So this is happening for a very long time, we know. But what is going to happen now in the I4 revolution is that the integration is going to become more concentrated, and this is going to happen more so that cost becomes optimized. Now today all the businesses are having one big challenge, which is cost optimization. So this model will help them to optimize the cost. Either companies or departments or functions will get integrated. I will explain this with an example also. What is horizontal integration? Vodafone Idea. Okay, so they merged together. It is the same business they are doing, and they merged together so that their cost becomes very effective. This is horizontal integration. Marriott and Starwood, both are in the similar business, so they clumped together so that they can use each other's services. Cost becomes optimized. ArcelorMittal, ExxonMobil, JP Morgan Chase. So these are all horizontal integration. Vertical integration is there is various stages in the manufacturing or in the business, and one big manufacturer will acquire the entire supply chain of the business so that he is not going to pass on the profits to others. Okay, now for example, Nescafe, coffee growing thing. They have taken over transportation, and now they are doing retailing also. If I'm doing transportation through somebody else, he will have a profit margin, so I have to give some profit margin to him. If somebody else is retailing my product, then we have to give a margin. So why don't we integrate and have a vertical integration so that cost is optimized? This is not applicable or not profitable in all businesses, because in some uh, complex businesses it becomes a headache to manage. But wherever it is possible, organizations are trying to do that. Simulation. So with the advent of so many softwares and computer becoming a very common thing, etc., and all that, simulation is actually being used to make the job easy. Okay, and it is not expensive also. You don't need to go and test in the market, so you can simulate sitting in the lab and see what will happen when this product is launched, and when it is working in a particular environment, what will happen. They simulate all these conditions within the lab, and they will try to fine tune the product, change it such that it becomes market ready. So which are all the industries which basically use simulation is aviation industry. Because in aviation industry you cannot go and try out something physically, so that will be a very costly affair. So then what we'll try to do is they will simulate the maximum conditions within the lab condition, and then make it 99.9% perfect, and then test it in the original market. In the same way, medical industry, now during the COVID time, we have heard about a lot about the vaccinations and all that, how it will get tested internally, etc. So simulation again comes here. Mathematics always is simulation, so that's a fun to have. Even in manufacturing industries, they try to simulate those products and then try to launch in the market. So there are many industries which use simulation. Now this is going to become heavily introduced, so that cost again becomes optimized, and better quality products are coming outside, and failures are avoided. Cloud technology, all of us know what is cloud technology is. So instead of having the data stored in your physical server, in your computers, etc., and all that, everything is pushed out. So when SAP, Oracle, and all that were initially launched, those data were not in cloud. So every client need to have a physical server where they have to keep all the data. But nowadays, nobody has a server if they have a SAP, Oracle, etc. So it is completely on cloud. So even small things. Example, our Gmail. If you see the Gmail emails which we have is not stored in our system. It is stored somewhere outside. All the videos in the YouTube is not stored in a computer. It's a cloud storage. So we go and access those cloud storage, and then we see those videos. So Outlook, mails, Facebook, whatever we see. So cloud technology has already taken over many applications. Additive manufacturing. So additive manufacturing is nothing but 3D printing. So 3D printing, which mostly uses the prototype and then produce individual components. So as of now, this is slightly costly, but the cost effectiveness of this is very high. So once organizations see that if it becomes affordable to them, then this is going to become the norm. So how additive manufacturing is working, I'll give you a simple example. The first model which is given the top is subtractive manufacturing, which is commonly done today. The second one is the additive manufacturing. Now to manufacture this screw, we normally take this piece of metal, and then we drill it, and then we do all the work, and then create this screw. So this is a traditional subtractive manufacturing model. What is happening in additive manufacturing? To start with, there is nothing. Okay, so then what happens is, based on this design, based on this structure, the parts are added layer by layer by layer, and then we have this final product out there. So here the wastage which happens is completely eliminated, but the manufacturing cost is slightly higher, okay, when compared to this. So the organization will make a cost benefit proposal. They will see how many units I am manufacturing per annum, whether it is worth investing in this technology so that I can save a lot of cost in the raw material, then those organizations will slowly move into additive manufacturing. This 3D printing technology, many real estate organizations have already started, and in Western countries, those technology, the 3D printing technology, is being used for real estate industry also. I was also told that the big hospital which was constructed in Wuhan in 10 days time or 15 days time, they used the 3D technology to make this construction faster. When everything is about computers, everything is about IoT, etc., and all that, cyber security becomes a major thing. So we had cyber security, we had antivirus, etc., and all that. But now it's going to be very, very, very strong because your data is going to get stored in the cloud, not in your physical system. So there is a lot of security related issues. So this cyber security industry again is doing a lot of work, and they are bringing in products such that it is foolproof and very, very difficult to hack. So the firewalls, the antivirus, the anti-spyware, etc. And if you can see, there are many websites where it is asking us to give a strong password. Sometimes when we provide a password, it will say no, it is weak, not acceptable. So it will ask us to give a strong password. So these things are also going to play a major role. So these are all the 9 characteristics which is going to contribute to this industry revolution. So I will just put that first slide again as a summary for you to understand those 9 characteristics again. Yes. Robotics, IoT, big data, augmented reality, horizontal vertical integration, simulation technology, cloud technology, additive manufacturing, 3D manufacturing, cyber security. So these 9 characteristics, so I've explained you in a very, very basic manner and with examples. Now, how this is going to impact various industries, let's quickly see that chart also. Right. So the food preparation industry is going to use it uh, big time because any food production company, they always have a mass production. So their production is going to be in huge volumes. So those industries will get a lot of benefit by doing all these automations and using these technologies. So the food production industry will have 60 plus percentage impact. They are going to use it to that extent. Okay. Construction industry, because of the 3D printing, okay, so it's going to have some 50-55 percentage positive impact. Cleaning industry, because of robots, okay, we have already seen in many big airports there are robots which is cleaning the airport and all that. So those industry will also see a very good benefit. Driving, we have already seen driverless cars and all that is being tested in Dubai, and they say that in the next 5 years or so, we are going to have all the cab without the drivers. So this industry is already reaching a point where they can launch their product. Agricultural labor automation may not happen in India, but definitely in Western countries, this is going to be used in agricultural field so that the manual labor is reduced and the efficiency also increases. Garment manufacturing industry. Okay, so this is one big thing. Garment industry is actually very, very, very big thing. Bangladesh's economy, 60% is being contributed by the garment manufacturing. So Bangladesh is actually one of the biggest manufacturer of all garments. Whichever brand you see, it's there in Bangladesh. So garment manufacturing is actually a very, very big industry. They are going to use this technology because their production is also in volumes. Personal services will have some impact. Sales, there is a lot of automated sales which is going to happen. So there are few testings which is already going on where you will get a automated call for selling a product, and it will say if you are interested to buy the product, press 1. Okay, if you want more details, press 2. If you want to call back, press 3. So the sales is going to have a very good impact, and the sales function will also use these data. For example, the big data analytics and all that, the sales function is going to use those data to understand the profile of the customers, clients, what do they buy, and how do we pitch in, etc. and all that. So the sales function will use those technology. Customer service again is going to use the technology based on how the clients are interacting with their preferences and all that. Business administration will have some impact. IT industry, yes, is going to benefit a lot, both by using the technology and also providing services on this technology to the clients. Engineering, healthcare, hospital, retail management, and then senior level management, politics. We have seen one movie, I think it is LKG, the Tamil movie, where they use all the statistics and then technology to pitch a particular candidate and all that. So this will be used in politics also for image building. Teaching, we have already seen the impact because of COVID. So this is broadly the impact which the Industry 4 revolution is going to have in the various industries. Now, since it is COVID time, uh, this is actually slowing a little bit. The impact will take some time, and these numbers are all pre-COVID time, so this will have an impact here and there. Slightly, it will reduce, but this revolution is always for 50 years, 100 years. It will slowly improve. So, talking about COVID, let us also see how the economy got affected because of COVID, and hence this will have an impact on the previous chart of various industries. This data is actually 2 month old data. I tried to update it, but still the updated data is not available. So, but this will give us a fair idea of how COVID has actually impacted the economy of various countries. So, the blue one is if Corona was not there, this is the economical growth which the globe would have seen. And the second one is basically basis life scenario with Corona, not much of impact. The third one is high impact, which is pandemic. After declared as a pandemic, this is the impact. If you see the global economy from around 3, it came down to 1.5. These are all projections. And now they are saying that the global economy is growing to grow only by 0.5%. And for various industries, these are all the numbers which is given. So as I told you, these numbers are around 2 months old. So many countries have affected more now. So this number will only worsen because of the current situation. Now, since COVID is there, what the organizations are doing, so we know that there's a lot of job cut and hiring freeze, uh, pay freeze, there is no increment, salary cut, deferred compensation. Okay, so they say that we cut your salary by around 20%, 30%. And once 6 months, 1 year later, when things come back to normal, we will pay you that balance. And some organizations have not given performance bonus. So, and we have seen Kavin Care has said that they will be leasing their building, their office, and we will ask every employee to work from home. They're trying to reduce cost. Though they have done good business, their business was not so affected. FMCG food products were not much affected in the industry because of COVID. So that takes me to the next slide, the industries which were affected. And hence, the Industry 4 revolution impact on these industries will slightly slow down. Retail industry, obviously, because all the malls are closed now. Standalone is working, but the malls are closed where the maximum business happens, and we don't know when the malls will open in the immediate future. Airline industry absolutely got affected. No people are checking in into the hotel. Nobody goes to the restaurant to have food. Only now the restaurants are slowly opening up. Entertainment industry very badly affected. Vijay's fans are very upset that Master movie is still not released. So no events. So entertainment industry is affected. Automobile industry, it was already struggling for the last 2 years because of GST and other issues. Now today it is still in bad shape. Logistics industry, because there is no movement of much goods because of the impact of other industries. So logistics is also getting affected. Sports, we are all eagerly waiting for IPL. So sports is getting affected. Today, after a very long time, the first ODI or test match between England and West Indies is supposed to start. So I just saw the news that it is getting delayed because of rain. So we all know that Olympic is postponed by a year. The sports industry is affected very badly. and real estate also affected badly. So these are all the industries which are affected. Now let us also see the industries which are all not got affected much. Healthcare. To be very frank, healthcare is actually booming. Okay, so one of my client, a star hospital, a five-star hospital in Chennai, have given me a requirement to hire around 25, 30 doctors. This came last week. So the healthcare industry now, since they are also treating COVID, plus people are becoming very conscious about their health and all that, healthcare industry is actually doing very good business. People are worried about their medical expenses. They are taking insurance. People who don't have a term insurance, they are trying to take a term insurance now and secure their families. MLM marketing, because as you know now, physical marketing is not happening, physical sales is not happening. MLM marketing business is doing a very good business. Stock market, initially it crashed during the COVID time, but when compared to those 2 months back and now, stock market is actually doing very well, and people are making good money now. Data science, as I told, that's always going to be a greenfield industry. So that's also doing very well. People are collecting data of various clients and customers. Analysis is going on, and they are every organization is preparing themselves as to how they should come back when all the lockdown is lifted, so that we can do very good business, right? So this is basically the slides which I have. We saw what is Industrial Revolution 1, 2, and 3, and then the 9 characteristics of Industrial Revolution 4, how it will have impact on various industries, and what COVID has done to various industries, which is struggling, which is not struggling. So these industries are going to get benefited out of Industry 4. So though will now these guys are all doing good business, they can afford money, they are going to use this technology, and this will actually move faster than the list of industries which we saw in the previous slide on the Industry 4 revolution. Good. So that is all about the Industry 4 revolution. Let's now do a quick poll to see whether this actually helped you in understanding or giving you a fair idea about what Industry 4 revolution is.
Audience, the poll has been enabled. Please click the poll and start voting. Thank you. Yes, we are getting good response. So almost everyone who have answered, they're given yes. So
fantastic.
Thank you.
Great. So that brings to the thank you slide, and thank you very much for patiently listening to me. We will have Q&A, Vignesh.
Yeah, sure, sir. Audience, if you have any question, please post it on the question tab, which you can able to see on the left-hand side of the screen. So far, we have some questions, sir. Mr. Murugavel have asked, is artificial intelligence a part of Industrial Revolution 4.0?
Yes, AI and ML is part of Industry Revolution. So this actually started some time back. So it's integrated into the data science and those type of things. Definitely AI and ML is part of Industry 4 Revolution. It is picking up very well. A lot of people are making their career in AI and ML. Many institutions are providing courses on AI and ML. That's going to be a very good future for those people who are doing a course in AI and ML.
Okay, sir. So follow up to the question, he asked how about data science and machine learning playing a role in Industry Revolution 4.0?
Right. So data science and machine learning, I will say ML is a input to data science, right? So
yes.
it gives the input of various data and behaviors. Artificial intelligence is using this data and coming out with solutions. So
Yes.
that is how ML, data science, and AI are interrelated.
Sure. So we have a question from Mr. Prasanna Krishnamurthy. Is it HR function will be automated by ERP software in the future?
Definitely, it should. Mostly transactional activities, routine activities. It is good for HR to automate those things and concentrate on developmental HR activities. So we should be spending less time in those transactional activities. There are certain ERPs which is already providing these type of solutions where they automate the routine things. It's always better because for me those things are non-value adding activities. So let's automate it and concentrate on better HR initiatives.
Okay, sir. So it's a question from Jayanti. It is, how can augmented reality can be used in tourism?
Yes, so as I explained, this is already being used in tourism, where in Germany they have used this technology in taking people from Germany to other places through VR, and people sitting in their houses, they have actually roamed around various places, and they were in their picnic already.
That's great, sir. Uh, this question from Thirumaran is asking, after COVID, do you see a big boom in industry, 4.0 revolution?
Yes, it will. It all depends when we have the vaccination and when people are ready to go out, because it's very natural. All companies which have put in so much of investment, and when they are suffering in doing business in the last 6 months, everybody would like to see how I catch up with this loss of business in 6 months, 8 months, etc., etc., and all that. People with a deep pocket are going to invest in all these industrial four characteristics, and they will try to take the business to the next level. People who don't have that much of deep pocket will still wait. They will try to catch up and then go to the characteristics.
Okay, sir. So we have a question from our Instagram audience. So they have asked, in HR perspective, what will be like how employees can able to upskill them, how the employees should motivate them to get adapted to the industry 4.0 revolution. So what are the benefits, or what are the education or skills that they have to get improved?
Right. So when it comes to training, it is always very simple. We have to find out the skill gap, right? So, for example, in our organization, we are trying to bring in a new technology which is part of this I4. So we have to do an assessment to see how many people are qualified with these skill sets and what is the skill gap. Then provide training programs. Normally, the training programs are always, if it is done in a structured manner, it will be very effective. The first step is to do a JD, okay, to see that what is the JD of this particular person or position, and then list down the skills required, both hard skills and soft skills required to do the job. So we have to break each and every line of the JD, identify the soft skills and hard skills, and list down a complete Adobe list of skills, and then bring the person who's going to do that work into picture, do an evaluation to see how much of the knowledge this person is having on these skills, hard skills and soft skills. Yes, he is good enough. No, if he requires training. So that will give you the skill gap analysis. So once we have the skill gap analysis for each and every person based on the JD, hard skill, soft skill, and evaluating him, then we can plan for a upskilling training for these employees.
Okay, thank you, sir. So, this question is from Siva Subramaniam. Is India well positioned to benefit from Industry 4.0? Which are the countries that are going to lead in this platform?
Europe is actually doing a lot of work. US, and we know about China. Okay. India is also well positioned. We have certain companies which have very deep pocket, which can invest in these type of industry for revolutions. And IT, we all know India is one of the biggest IT hub. And when these revolutions are happening, those organizations will look for support for IT, and the IT industries are actually going to do very good business. So India is well positioned. There's no doubt about it. But if you see the transition which is happening in Europe or US, to that extent, industries moving from straight away 3 to 4. The percentage will not be so high in India because of the economical situation. We have all category of people. So, but a major chunk of company will move and they will make good profit. They will get good business and money. But still, the percentage will differ. US and Europe is going to be definitely the forerunners.
Okay, sir. Thank you. This question is from Venkateshwaran. In a country where unemployment is high, will not Industry 4.0 increase unemployment?
So that's why I gave you, yeah, it's a very valid question. That's why I gave that initial clause where we said that we have all category of people living, all type of vehicles. So this is not going to take away the employment, because in industry 1, 2, 3 revolution, it didn't happen. People actually upskilled, and still, as I told you, Excel is still there, Tally is still there. normal ERP packages are still there. So this will continue. So this will follow what I call it as a 33.33% rule. We all know what is 80-20 rule, which is a Pareto, but there is a rule called 33.33%. Any change, 33.33 percentage of the people or industry will get benefited out of it. 33.33 percentage will not get benefited out of it. It will be negative for them. 33.33 percentage who are in the middle will not have any impact. So this will also have the same thing. The bottom 33.33%, which is going to have an impact, what will happen is they will be unable to go to that level because of their own intellectual knowledge or affordability to learn all that. They cannot upskill, but still they will continue to do activities which is a manual activity or those industry 2-3 revolution types. They will earn lesser when compared to the other people. So unemployment, I don't see, actually more employment will come in, particularly in IT sector, because India is IT strong and all those organizations are going to outsource these projects to India.
Okay, I understand. In fact, the similar situation happened when computer came into 80s and 90s, where the banking officials were objecting it. Now most of the banks have started using it. I guess the similar situation may happen, I guess. Okay, this question is from Vijay. What kind of changes will happen to human resource a person, especially freshers or industry revolution, during the industry revolution?
Freshers, it is better that they get equipped with these things, because when they go into the organization, when the organization is doing this transition, they should not be left behind. So as I told you, I've conducted 3 such webinars on the same topic. All those 3 were only for the college students. Specifically, those colleges asked me to talk about Industry 4 Revolution to engineering students and MBA students, so that they will know what is going to happen and equip themselves. Okay, so if somebody doesn't know these technologies, it will be very difficult for them. So the students who are getting equipped will go and work in those organizations which have a very high impact. Who are unable to equip because of their own reasons, they will continue to work in other category of companies, and they will earn that much. So this will be the impact for the students, but better we learn and equip so that we are there in the creamy layer.
So in continuation to the question, Vijay asked, how should we prepare for it? So is there any courses that they have to go for, or any skill that they have to adapt with?
There are plenty of courses. There are courses in AI and ML. There are courses in IoT. So there are courses in 3D printing. So whichever industry you are, and now that you know how it is going to affect your industries or affect your industries, so you can do those courses. For all the Industry 4 Revolution impacts, courses are available, and it is available for many years now. So you can identify to which industry and how it impacts, then you can do those courses. It will be fantastic if you upgrade, because you will be one of the forerunner, and you will be the talent who are available in the early stages, so that you can actually command a premium salary.
Okay, thank you, sir. Audience, the last call for a Q&A. If you have any question, please post it on the question tab, which you see on the left-hand side of the screen. So that's a question from Prasanna. They asked, is it Industry 4.0 helps is it like Industry 4.0 will help migration workers and unorganized sectors, because majority of Indian workers are unorganized sector, so they belong to unorganized sector. So he's asking about your comments, sir.
Right. So what is naturally happening is, I gave you about this robo example in a warehouse. So that robo also need to be operated from somewhere, right? So these uneducated, semi-skilled, unskilled workers have actually learned it. And today, if you go and see in any factory which is using these robots, it is still the same workmen. Only thing is they upgraded the skill, and those organizations gave those training to those people and then upskilled them. So category of workers will definitely upskill themselves, but migrant workers who are unable to upskill, again, as I told you, all category of manufacturing will exist. Now today still there are many industries where it is completely manual manufacturing, that industry will continue. India is such that it will not completely transit. That will continue. So these people who are at that particular level will still continue to work in those, and then semi-skilled will continue to work in this, and people who can upskill can work in the next category. It will have a very little bit of an impact, and that impact is also is pushing the workers to learn and upskill themselves, and they are actually doing it. They are actually doing it, and they are learning it. They are getting licenses. People who are third pass, fourth pass have actually taken these courses, and it's very simple. They are technically, they can make out, and they are learning it. Organizations are helping it out. So in future, the organization have to take that responsibility of providing the training in helping those people to operate that.
Okay, sir. Thank you. We have a question from our Instagram user. So it is, if IoT is being implemented in most of the industries, will not be a major security concern for that, developing industries? So that is the
Yes.
question.
So that is why the eighth or ninth characteristics which we saw is also
Right.
on security. So security is also becoming stronger and stronger and stronger, but it can never be foolproof. 100% can never happen. But still, it is becoming stronger and stronger. That is also one of the characteristics in the Industry 4 revolution.
Okay, so this is a kind of a common question they have asked again. So, like in your viewpoint, what do you think about work from home? Since you're into an HR fraternity, so how people can work efficiently? So, what are the techniques or tips that you can give for them?
Same 33.33%. Okay, for 33.33 percentage of the people, it is actually working very well. For 33.33 percentage of the organizations, they are feeling that it is working very well, like coming care and all that. For 33.33 percentage, doesn't have any impact. Okay, so it's okay. The other 33.33 percentage has a negative impact. Organization feel that people are not working effectively, and results are not coming. Employees are finding it. I know many of my friends are saying it's boring to work from home. I'm waiting for the day when the office will reopen. So it depends upon the personal characteristics and the characteristics of an organization. Very professional organization like IT companies already have this work from home concept and all that for
Yes.
very long years. So it depends upon the maturity of the organization, which stage they are, whether they can agree that and accept that. Still, I am seeing the promoter-driven, owner-driven organization. I know an organization which is a 4,000 crore company, Indian company, South Indian company, but still run by the promoter owner. They are actually fuming. Okay, my employees are sitting in home. I don't know what they are doing, so they cannot accept that. So it depends upon the characteristic of the leader of the organization, how he is driving it, and then the characteristics of an individual. I know many of my friends who are working perfectly very well. They are enjoying. They are managing the work. There are some people who always want to roam around with the people. Those characteristics of people are saying that it is completely boring because I don't have any interaction with anybody. So I'm not that type of a person. So the characteristics differs.
Okay, thank you, sir. It's well said. So I guess that's all for the questions, sir. So we have come to an end. So thank you so much, sir, for your valuable insight. It's been great to to know all these things, like from the bird eye view which you have given to us, and how to embrace this Industry 4.0 revolution. So thank you so much, and it's a kind of a very informative session what we had today, sir. And also thank you so much for patiently answering all the questions and in detail.
Yes.
So thank you so much.
Thank you to all the participants.